We've got our sister on the line with us, Sister Mahat, Lady Mahat. Now, if you're a member or even you listen to the In Truth program on a Tuesday evening between I think it starts, but I don't usually tune in until about 7, but I think it starts at half 6, right, till 10. And this sister's blowing up that platform, and she's here on passionradiouk.com. And our sister LP will be conducting the interview. Sister LP, can you hear me, my darling?
Yes, I certainly can. Good
Oh,
evening. Hi to all the listeners.
oh, wonderful, wonderful. Anyway, I'm going to leave everything up to you, sister, to introduce the
Okay.
sister and conduct the interview.
All right.
Sister
Well, you
Mahat, are you
say
there, my darling?
Yes, brother, Sister LP family, it's wonderful to be here and thank you so much for the invite. I feel very, very honoured and privileged to be a part of passionradiouk.com today. And I certainly will be in the future now that I've downloaded the app, brother. I've been able to technically work that bit out. So, yes, great to be
Oh,
here.
I'm telling you, we're glad to have you, sister. Really, we are. We've got a lot of listeners that's excited about you coming on today. So I'm telling you, it's our pleasure, not yours. Yeah. And I actually your beloved brother Andrew. He's a
Mhm.
brother that I've known for so many years. You know what I mean? He's
Yes,
we used to we were part of the nation, and we used to go down
yeah.
to London every Tuesday, and
Uh-huh.
take the teaching. The brother is so. I'm telling you, he's awesome. Sister LP interviewed him on Passion a few years back, and I'm going to expose her now. She actually, she was a bit, when you're shocked, right? Starstruck. She was
Wow.
starstruck.
He does that. He does that. His work within the community makes him a legend and with a massive legacy. So there's so much we can learn from him and so much he inspires in others, and particularly myself. Hence why I ended up being a regular on the Hidden Truth and I learned to stand and speak out for myself and for our sisters and our young people in particular. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
she was starstruck. She wasn't even asking the questions properly. She didn't know where she was.
I've grown a lot. I've grown a lot under the mentorship of my leader, 45. Big 45. I have grown a lot. Haven't I, 45?
You
Have I
have.
come along?
She's come a long way.
Yeah.
Yes. I just hope you're not upset with me for mentioning that, but I just thought I'd mention it.
Oh, no, it's okay. I remain ever humble.
All right. All right. The platform is yours now, sister.
Okay, thank you. Sister
Yes.
Maat Adele, thank you so much. It's lovely for us to be speaking with you. But can you first start off by telling us where you are and how long you've been there?
So I'm speaking to you from our place called Royal Sankofa. It's in the Gambia,
Right.
in an area called Sanyang. So here it's still daylight. The temperature is probably the low 30s right now. I've got the fan on,
Wow.
and I couldn't be in a better place right now. And we've been in the Gambia, Brother Andrew and I. We're 2.5 years in now. Two and a
Okay.
half years.
Right. Okay. So you have the knowledge, the wisdom, the insight on, the best ways that we can actually relocate, which is something a lot of our brothers and sisters are looking to do. Um, what would you say are some of the reasons for our desire to leave the UK?
So, what I'd start by saying that I've learned a lot along the way that I want to share with everybody today because I've learned through mistakes as well. So it's good to have somebody who kind of goes ahead and can help other people coming up behind
Yeah.
because that's what we do. We want to create a community here.
Yes.
But some reasons I would say people want to move out, and you've got to really know your reasons. Often it is, because I want better weather, and that's often because you've been on holiday, you went back to your homeland in the Caribbean, or
Mm,
often when we go on holiday, we go somewhere where the weather's better. And weather is always one of them. And the
mm.
second reason is always because there's something we hate back where we live. So I'm going to focus really on England and probably America. I don't know where all the followers are from today, but it's because there's something we love and there's something we hate. But as I've been thinking about it and looking at my own experience, we have to sometimes stop and think, what is the thing I hate? Because then when you start talking to people about, well, you know what, you're not going to get your McVitie's biscuits in the Gambia.
Yes.
right? You're not going to get a range of butters in the Gambia. And all of a sudden, the things that you think you hate in the UK or in America, you realize you actually love them. So it needs to be bigger than that. And we need to be thinking about, what is it that I really dislike, and why do I dislike it so much I will give it up? And also, what is it you're going to gain in your new place? You're going to give. So it's not just about self, it's about service, and it's about really understanding those two reasons. Weather is not a good enough reason to move. Is it because you hate your work colleague? So I would say that is, you got to think about it a bit more deeply than that.
Okay, I think that is, you've brought up some really important points, because it is like a growing feeling, for many of us that, I shouldn't be here, I need to go. But oftentimes we could actually find that we regret the decisions that we've made. How did you know that the Gambia was the right place for you? Did you try other locations on the continent?
So what Brother Andrew and I, before we actually came together, had already decided in our own independent lives that we were not going to end our days in the UK.
Yeah.
We both knew, independent of each other, that we wanted somewhere where the climate was better. We wanted to go somewhere where we could serve our people. Go somewhere where we can serve the community. So we were thinking about, where should we go? Should we go to Portugal? Can we serve our community there? Should we go back to the Caribbean? Both of our heritage is in Jamaica, and we thought, if we go to Jamaica, it's got a lot of issues there itself. I kind of want that spirit and that energy, because I always thought if I was going to leave the UK, I'd have to go back to my home country of Jamaica, and I found that quite stressful thinking about it.
Yes.
Issues there, unfortunately, but what we do know is a lot those issues are created by colonialism, imperialism. So it's not about our people having an issue there, it's about the impact of those and the legacy of that left behind. So we decided, we had some people come over to eat, and our children were there and young people were there, and we said, yes, we'll go and see the Gambia. And we kept saying, yes, we'll go. And then my daughter said, you keep saying you're going and you're never going, you're always going to say you do something, you never do something. And then I said, Brother Andrew, we have to go. We can't have these young on our case about it, because they themselves are looking to get out of Babylon in their own way. And so we went to the Gambia, and as soon as the plane touched down, Andrew knew the Gambia was for him. And for me, as soon as I hit the countryside, because I'm a country person, from country people, from farmers, Caribbean farmers, that's when this is it for me. And we didn't need to go anywhere after that. Of course, we've been to the Caribbean, and Andrew's traveled parts of the world, I've traveled parts of the world. But when we hit on Gambia, it was for us. And the reason we knew it was for us, it wasn't for the same reasons. So it wasn't Andrew following me or me following Andrew. Our own hearts found our own place in the country. And so that is why Gambia is our place.
That's beautiful. Wow. Yeah. I think,
and that's Laura, that when you go, you have your own reason. It can't be I'm following my husband, or my children are following their parent. You've got to find your passion for it. It doesn't have to be the same, but that helps if you want to make it work.
Yeah, I completely agree with you. Because this is the place that you're going to be settling down. To all intents and purposes, this is the place that you're going to end your life. So you need to get it right, and you need to do it for yourself. It helps if other people are going with you, but you have to know why you yourself are going to be there. So what would you say are the everyday things that somebody needs to consider when deciding to leave Babylon?
So, of course, there's always the legal things you've got to look at. So, for example, if we were going to go to Ghana, that means we'd need a visa every time, because the British passport doesn't allow you to enter Ghana. So you need to think about that. What's the length of your stay? So for in Gambia, you can only stay at 30 days at a time. You could possibly get an extension. So you need to look into those legalities and look to expand your length of stay by getting a residency card or an alien card, just to give you that flexibility of movement. And then everyday things, you need to think about, where do you want to live? So we live way out in the country. Some people want to live in the suburbs. Some people want to live where it's really, really busy. So you need to thinking about that. Also, then you need to think about, well, how am I going to get around if I live in the countryside? How am I going to get into town? The bus service is not like you go out and there's a bus stop at the end of the road that runs 24/7. So you need to think about how you're going to move around. And will I get a driver? Will I need to get my own car? So do I need to get my driving license?
Yeah.
If you're taking children, you need to think about schools, location for schools, and checking out the schools, going to the school gate, talking to somebody who's got children within the school. If you have healthcare issues, for example, checking out your hospitals, can they match the care or the services that you may need? Because you can't just keep jumping on a plane every time you need to have an x-ray or every time you need to have a blood test. Can you forge the links in the country where you are? And there's 2 hospitals that we have connections with, depending what our needs could be. So we know where we would go. Yeah. Also, how are you going to live when you're here? Some people have the privilege of living off a pension. You might have a good pension from the UK. Others may not be on that pension stage yet, but you might be in a job where you can approach your employee and say, can I do distance working? You might, before you think, you know what, I've got to change, find a new job where I can do distance learning, even if it's for 6 months in the year, or how can I do that? Or you might decide you want to set up business. So when you go and visit your country, you need to look at what are the gaps there. And just to go back a bit, when you asked about the place to live, in order to do these things, you do need to visit. And when you visit, and particularly if you like many different countries, we can't all afford to go and visit all of them, but we might narrow it down. But use YouTube, listen to podcasts, and even if you're going to somewhere like my family's originally from Jamaica, so I don't feel I need to check out Jamaica. Yes, I do need to check out Jamaica, because living there and holidaying there, even with my family, 2 different worlds,
2 different things.
2 different things. And when you think, you know what, this is the place, then I'm saying get out of the hotel and book yourself an Airbnb. Go and shop for your food and cook for yourself. Then you'll find, what can I get? What can't I get? Go window shopping. What can I buy? What can't I buy? I love Galaxy chocolate, Laura. That means I am relying on everybody sending me Galaxy chocolate. I've got no post service. So my best friend, Amazon, I don't have it here. So how do I accommodate for that? How do I know what's important to me? So for Hidden Truth, internet speed is critical. So we needed to get good internet speed. And I had to think about, what will I miss? So there's questions you really need to ask yourself, and you need to try and live in those places. That's why Airbnb is so good. So you can see, what is my day-to-day life going to look like?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow. There's a lot to consider, isn't there? It's not a matter of just picking yourself up and just plonking yourself down somewhere.
No.
I think the furthest I got to was, I'm trying to put all of my work online, but it was like, well, do I need to marry someone to get my stay? I remember back in the day, people would come over from the Caribbean and they would be looking for someone to marry. There's a lot to take into consideration. So for somebody who's leaving here to go over to the continent, do they have to prepare anything over here for them to go over there? Or can they just get up and leave?
Well, you can't really just get up and leave. And the reason I said that, you need to, like I said before, you might need to check out the visas. What's the length of stays? What papers do I need to lengthen my period of stay, and start getting that process. So when you go over, you might say, this trip is dedicated to getting my alien card or my residency card, my driving permit. This is what this trip is all about. Because particularly on the continent and places like Gambia and some of the smaller countries within the continent, things take longer. Things are slow. For instance, Gambia does not have a British embassy.
Yeah.
So things like visas and stuff like that, it's not easy to get hold of. So you need a dedicated trip to sort out your business, your business plan for your, like I said, your residency, your alien card, that sort of thing there.
Yeah.
Then when you're in England, you have to think to yourself, well, I'm going for a few months at a time, so it's okay. But if you're going for full time, you might say, Will I sell my house in the UK? Will I rent it? Will I give it to get my children to look after it? You also, one big thing is, how are you going to transfer funds from your UK account to a bank account? Now, UK, if you look at the drop down menus to where you can transfer funds to which countries from UK banks, African nations do not appear there. So how are you going to get your money out of your NatWest account into either account or as cash where you are? So you need to work those things out. In the UK, who's going to act on your behalf? So, for example, I had some business to do as when I was a landlord, because we had a house that we had to sell, and there was issues going on. I couldn't be dealing with the phone calls; it's too expensive. They don't use WhatsApp in the UK, so I had to name my daughter on all the business so she could talk on my behalf. That's very important, and also, if you're planning to make it your permanent place of stay, you speak to your solicitor. How will you will the property that's there that you have in your new country? How will you will the land? What happens if anything happens to you? Where do you want your body? Will it rest in your new homeland, or do you want it back? So, although we don't like to think about those things, they are real everyday things that you don't want to leave your family who's in another country, back in the UK or America, to deal with, and yet you don't want to leave it in the hands of the new system of the country, because the British Embassy is not going to be there to help you in that respect. So those are a few of the things you need to make sure you do as you're planning your move. So you're not just moving to a new country, you're moving from a country, and both of them require work put into them.
Wow, there is a lot to consider. Okay, I hope our listeners are taking notes, because this is a really important conversation. It's not just a matter of picking yourself up, as I've said, and plonking yourself down, because we learn as we grow, but we don't want to burn our bridges.
Yeah,
So,
I'm sorry. Can I just continue, sister? I've just had a text come in, a question. Do you want me to give you the question now, or wait till afterwards?
it's up to you, Sister Maat.
If it's relevant to right now,
Yeah.
then it could be good, or it could wait till the end, because I might answer the question as we go through.
Yeah. All right then. All right. I'll wait. I'll wait. All right.
Okay. All right. I have a few more. I'm just thinking about what you said there as well about property in the UK, and possessions that we might have. When we go over to the continent, I know a lot of people are buying land. How feasible is that? How do I know what would be best for me? Would it be better to get somewhere, a little apartment in a gated community? Is it better for me to buy land? What would you suggest? Or build yeah, go on. Sorry.
No, that's all right, Sister LP. That's a really important question, and there's a lot of factors around that. So, for example, it's all about what your needs are. If you're going to be coming and going because you might have a place in Jamaica, or you might want to be going back to England, so you're just flitting in and out, you might decide, I'm just going to buy myself a small property on an estate that can kind of look after itself, that maybe I can Airbnb when I'm away. But if you're looking for long-term, more permanent stay, then you need to be thinking about, well, where is it I want to stay? If I'm going to be here long-term, do I want to be in the hustle and bustle, more towards the suburbs, or out into the country? Then you have to think about transport, so purchasing of a car. That then becomes a part of the equation. And then it really depends on your time and what you want to do. So Brother Andrew and I, we wanted to create an environment where we could encourage people from the UK, from America, from the diaspora, to come over and experience real Africa. That's why we're out in the countryside, and that's why we bought a land, so we could build that experience. If not, we could have purchased maybe an existing house and done it up ourselves. Some people want to move and go in straight away with little work to do. Some people want to be creative and have the time to build. Now, the thing about building is that you really need to have somebody on the ground managing the project, whichever country you're in. We hear about it in the Caribbean, we hear about it across Africa. Having somebody on the ground is very important. But I think more so than that is to find out what is the legal and practical options that that country allows. So, for instance, in the Gambia, you can buy land, but it's got to be a certain distance away from the water's
Right.
edge. It's got to be a particular kind of size. You can't go beyond that anymore. But if you buy something that already exists, you could get something very, very huge. Something else that people don't think about is permits and licenses and
Yeah.
visas. If you're going to build, you need to have a permit. You've got to have your bill signed off by the architect. You might need to have a license for some part of your construction. These things are not necessarily difficult to get, but if you don't get them, it can cause you problem later on. Another thing, that a mistake that a lot of people do who buy land or property, is we always go to the country when it's the best time of year. So everybody comes together around the Christmas time, it's dry, it's hot. And then they look and say, I want this land, I want this house, I'm going to build. But go in the worst season, go in the rainy season, go in the typhoon season and see what it's like, because people buy land and property which floods.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's inaccessible. So we live way out. We have a big 4x4 Jeep that's off the ground because the puddles where we live are up to 1 foot, 1.5 foot deep. So we have to accommodate for that. And the sand is so deep when it's dry season. So go and visit your land, visit your property before you purchase, in the best season and in the worst season. So those things are very important. So knowing how much time you have, what's your financial capacity, how patient are you? It took us a year and a half to build. We had to live for about 6 months in one of our roundhouses, cooking outside on a stove. It was a building site, but we wanted to be a part of that process. So it's either or. There's no difference. It's just about what you prefer. Some people feel they're not creative. You don't need to be creative. I say to people, go and view houses that are worth £1 million and more. Go and view it. Go to the estate agent, because your money will give you more in the Gambia, whether you refurbish a big compound that's already in existence or you build. And often as a people, we don't think we deserve these great things. This is for the white man to have these big mansions, gated mansions. No, it is for us. We are the originators of that.
Yes.
We deserve it. And so go and £2 million house. Go and view a £3 million house and get ideas. Make Pinterest your best friend. And then whatever you buy and build, or whatever you buy that's already built, you can make it special to you.
Okay. Wow. You're really giving us the positives here, and I really do appreciate that. I do have some friends, though, that have bought land in Ghana, in the Gambia, and they've had really negative experiences. I don't want to bring a downer onto the conversation, but what would you say that somebody should look out for?
So if you're going to buy property or land in another country, the best piece of advice I can say is to find another diasporan brother or sister who has done it. And I always say, find someone who's been through the process, not done the process. And people say to me, well, what do you mean by that? Brother Andrew and I have been through the process every step of the way. Other people, usually local people, have done the process. Oh, I can get you a wall permit. Oh, I can get you somebody who can build you your wall. Oh, I can get somebody who can get the Akalu to sign off papers for purchase. But these are just one of things that people have done. You need somebody who's been through it from beginning to end. So when people are buying land in the Gambia and they come to us or buy property, we do a presentation. I do a presentation which shows them this is what happens. Here's all the steps along the way. This is what you're going to see along the way. And if any of this is missing, then something's not right. So it's all about finding somebody who's been through, you don't even need to know them, but have they been through the process, not just the process? Because you've got to make sure if you're buying land, that is it signed off as domestic or is it signed off as agricultural land? What is the quality of that land? What's its accessibility in the seasons? And people who are trying to sell, we know it. We all want to try and get something for nothing. but if we sell our house, we just put a piece of paint over the damp wall, and hopefully it stays like that until the house is sold, and then the new person finds a damp spot. It's a bit like that. And also seeing the quality of the tradesmen. So I've had to do a lot of finishing on our property here, and a lot of people ask me to do that now. Is right. So you want to come and build my roof, yeah? Right. Can you take me to a roof that you've built? And I asked the person, this man built this roof. How do you feel about that roof? Is it watertight? Does it leak in the rainy season? Is it sound? People, you've built somebody's wall. Let me go and ask them about the wall. And so what it is, because everybody says, yes, they can do a job, when really they should say no, but I'll find someone who can. Because you find in the Caribbean and in the Africas, there is no accountability. It's not like in the UK, if the workman does a job wrong, it's his responsibility to correct it. In the Africa, no, it's nobody's responsibility to correct it. You will have to pay again.
Yeah. Wow.
So that's what I would say to do that. So do your research. Sister LP, I can now understand the science of plumbing, from sewage right down to drinking water. I understand how the electrical circuitry works. I don't come from this particular field, but I've YouTubed myself. I've asked questions. Also, it's important to understand the working patterns of the people. So somebody was in a meeting today about somebody wanted to do their build. We had to be straight with them. Ramadan is coming up. We're in a predominantly Islamic nation. I tell you right now, for a whole month, work is going to be on a real go slow.
Yeah.
Timing is different. In the West, we operate on the clock. In the Africas and the Caribbean, it's about the time of day. Morning, I always say morning, afternoon, evening, and night. So it's not that you say get here at 9 o'clock. It doesn't work like that. You need to think about, what do I need to ship in? What's the quality of this, and what's the quality of that? So there are things to really consider at all stages, but finding out yourself and knowing the questions that to ask is more powerful, I would say, than anything.
Okay, I agree with you. I think that we need to manage our expectations and realize that the work ethics or the different celebrations or traditional observations will come first. Priorities are different over there to the ones that we've been raised to believe are important and necessary. So we have to adapt our mindset as well to recognize. Yeah. Okay. All right. There are so many things. I'm biting my tongue right about now. Okay. So we know that there are real biological and psychological and physiological reasons why we, as melanated people, must leave Babylon.
Yes.
But can you just run through what they are for our listeners, because they may not have actually considered that these are viable reasons for leaving?
Yeah, so Sister Laura, what happened is, when I was looking into about moving out of Babylon, while I was looking into that, I came across the fact that I was thinking about us as a people as well. And as you said, there are biological, physiological and psychological reasons why we must leave. Now, not all of us can leave. Not all of us want to leave for various reasons. But I just want the family to know that we are Black people, melanated people, do not belong in the North. Now, think about it. For thousands and thousands of years, our body, our biology, our physiology, and our psychology has developed and evolved to live in the sun. So, and what we are now doing, we've left the sun either by force, like during the transatlantic slave trade, or for economic migrant reasons, why we came over, like the Windrush era, and we have shocked our body. And what we find now, that the illnesses that we have, because I think to myself, why are we as Black people getting all these illnesses? Kidney, lupus, heart conditions, ADHD, schizophrenia. Why are we getting this? We are the original people on earth. So our genes are amongst the original genes. So we are stronger as a people. Why are we so sick? And as I was thinking about it, I realized oh, I'm using my body that's evolved for thousands and thousands of years to manage living in another place. And as we was talking about earlier, it's like trying to put diesel into a petrol car and thinking the car will work. It won't
Mm,
work. The car
mm,
is still the car. The engine, the windows, the electronics, everything is the same. But you put diesel into a petrol car and the car won't work. And what we're doing, we are diesel trying to work in a petrol oriented world. And so I was looking into this, and that explains the vitamin D chronic deficiency they say that black people have. We don't have vitamin D deficiency. Science defines it as chronic
mm.
vitamin D deficiency. And the darker we are, the more chronic the deficiency. So that then leads to all kinds of things like diabetes, autoimmune. We have
Yeah.
highest pregnancy complications. How can we possibly have highest pregnancy complications? It's not an issue in Africa. But it's
Mm,
an issue for us in the West. That's amongst them. Mental health, schizophrenia, and bipolar. That's all linked to vitamin D. Skin conditions, adulthood asthma, heart conditions, stress. All these things is because our body, our adapted sun bodies, are trying to operate in the wildness of the north. So things like the hormone of serotonin, which requires the sun, we're not
mm.
getting that. Our circadian rhythm. So in the north, in the summer, the sun can start coming up at 4:30 in the morning and goes
Yeah.
down around 9:30 at night. In the motherland and in the Caribbean, there's little variation in that. So we're almost on a 12-hour system. So our circadian rhythms, our biological clock, is working as it should be. Diet, Leon Marshall, I don't know if I had Leon Marshall on the show. He talks about eating the sun. You can't eat the sun in the West, in the
No.
North. There's no sun to eat.
Yeah.
So even the natural foods, they say since apples in the 1950s to now have lost about 40% of their nutritional value. So we eat
Mm,
processed food and natural foods that don't have uh, it's natural processed foods that are just not good for us.
yeah.
Spirituality, Naim Akbar, he says you cannot understand African psychology through the Western mentality, and that's what we're trying to do. That's how we educate our children. And so, and W.E.B. Du Bois, he talks about dual consciousness. We live in the West in this dual consciousness. We play two roles at the
Mm,
same time.
mm.
Which threatens our identity, which compounds racism. And then we wonder why our young people are behaving in the way they do.
There you
So
go.
there are real reasons why we shouldn't be living in the North. And yes, some of us have to stay here. So we need to really understand that, admit that, and then we can start treating it. But if we can get out to South America, to the Caribbean, to the motherland, even if south of France or the Mediterranean, if that's as far as you can go, where the
Mm,
sun is there,
mm.
we can get back onto being the people we were designed. We can be who we were created and adapted and evolved to be, because we're not in the North, and we will continue to get sick and sicker
Yeah.
because the change is going to take thousands and thousands of years to come to Northern Mine. And just before you move on, I just wanted to remind the family that yes, we as a black people, we conquered the earth. You can find evidence of the black man in Russia, in China, in Alaska, all over the places. But where do they always go back to? They always go back to the south because they know that's where their body belongs. They
Mm,
conquer the north, but they always go back to the south.
mm.
Mm.
Wow. You have said so much there.
I'm passionate
Wow.
about it. Passionate about it.
Yeah.
We are not people, Sister Laura. These
Yeah.
conditions are not our conditions. It's our body trying to deal with an environment which is alien to it.
And then when the body fails, we're really angry with the body. Why is this happening? Or why is God allowing this to happen to us? Why don't we just
Exactly.
pick ourselves up and go? We will extend our days. We don't belong here. We never did. So what's keeping us? I had a conversation recently with somebody and I said, I've really gone downhill mentally since coming back from Zimbabwe. And he turned around and he said, well, why did you come back?
Mm.
And I
Mm.
thought to myself, oh my gosh, why did I come back? Why did
Yes.
I? And oftentimes it's out of fear.
Yes.
Um, I just wanted to ask you, I suppose, one last question, because I know 45's got a question for you.
Mhm.
How did you find the transition between cultures and lifestyles? I know that you said that you missed your galaxy. So how you kind of how what fills the gap? What fills the galaxy gap?
Oh, the Galaxy Gap. Well, what I did do before I went is I prepared my mind and I prepared my children and I prepared my grandchildren. And the wonders of technology meant that that transition was easier. I thought that was going to be the hard one. But coming from education where everything runs by the clock, everything, as I was a school leader, I was a leader of a chain of schools, you have to be very, very structured. And I found that part of the transition very hard because, like I said, the clock doesn't operate in the same way here in Gambia in particular.
Yeah.
I found I was getting very irritable very, very quickly, very, very impatient. But as time went on, I realized, Adele, you have to listen, you have to look, you have to learn, and you have to respect. Doesn't mean I had to agree, but I had to listen first, look first, learn first, and respect first so that I could find my place. I then started to start learning some of the language, just a few cultural phrases, so I could feel like I was becoming a part of the environment within which I was living. We then took the part of the transition. We connected with our community, so we support our school. We go down to our school. We fundraise for our school. We go and see the children. So that was very important to become a part of that community. And because from the minute we decided we were going to go and Gambia was our home, we started to behave as if we were already living there and England was just our business plan for getting out. So we never, after that first trip, we never came back home. We just came back to England to sort out business. And so anybody who wants to move out or is on that journey to move out, pace yourself. Don't worry about have I got a fixed date. Just know and start living as if it is your home and you're just here sorting out your business. And when you go with a skill, I realized the only place where I could dominate in this environment was teaching my skill because I own that. So and rather than getting impatient because everybody took too long to come and the workman said he's coming, he didn't come today, he comes tomorrow. When I was teaching my skill, I taught my skill in the way that I thought it would best serve. Because at the end of the day, we want to improve the life of and the nation of the Gambia because it's still heavily behind due to colonialism and imperialism. So we want to address that, but without aggression or force. And so that's kind of how we approached it. I learned to slow down, to listen, look, learn, and respect, make a connection. We went with the school because both Brother Andrew and I are out of education, and the skills that I had, I then taught in my way. So I wasn't replacing what was there. I was doing it in a different way that the local people of the Gambia could choose to copy or not. And I learned to move with the pace, Sister Laura. I learned to move with the pace, and that's beautiful.
Okay. How have you been received? How have you been received by the people?
So that's a really good question and a very, very important question. So because we came with the attitude of we're going home, we behaved as if we are going home and that we were at home, hence the connections with our community and with our local chief. Now, for me, myself, the challenge was very different because my skin is very, very light and you don't see many fair-skinned people in the Gambia. I had a new challenge. I left that challenge in the UK. Now I face different way in the Gambia. And it was a struggle at first, but what I realized I had to do, I had to accept my place that I have a God-given right to own anywhere on the planet. We as a Black people are the owners of this planet. We were put here, and regardless of our shade of blackness or brownness, that wasn't to be, I couldn't allow that to be my setback. So I walk as a black woman just as I do in the UK. I talk as a black woman just as I am in the UK. And what it is, that confidence has shown confidence to the people around me. And because they see that I am behaving and moving as they are, I have no issues with that anymore. If there is an issue, it's because it's me, not because it's of the Gambia itself. But they have accepted us very, very warmly. And the police come down and see us. I make sure I made all the checkpoint police along the way. Like I said, with our school and our young people, we employ staff here. They're like family to us. They come in the house, go out the house, tell me what needs to be done, and so on and so forth. So we are one big family. We intend to continue to grow our relationship in that way.
That is absolutely beautiful. Thank you so much. Just out of interest, 45, you said that you had a question. Do you want to
Yes.
come in now?
Oh, I've been listening intently. Yo, I'm telling you,
Yeah,
sister. Oh, you've really given us so much to think about with that interview. I'm telling you. Anyway, sister, I
yeah.
myself I actually went in 1996, I do believe it was, to the Gambia, and
Mm-hmm.
I changed my name, and me and the
Uh-huh.
wife, both of us changed our name. I'm known as Lamine now. In the African name is Lamine. I went through the ceremony with the elders and everything, and
Oh, wow.
the wife is called Fatumata. And
Uh-huh.
because I'm the firstborn, and what I mean, and things like that. The names mean something. So a lot of people say to me, "Well, how come you still called 45 over here then? If you,
Yeah.
and stuff like that. Why don't you use that name?" But people that know me use it. You know what I mean? Because I said to myself, "Well, when the devil took my name from me, right? Because all of us that were made slave, if the masters are slaves were called Smith, we came out of slavery carrying that name. So one of the first things we're supposed to do is change our names, So
Yes.
I said he didn't ask me for permission to change my name. Why am I asking him for permission to get it back? You know what I mean?
That's it.
Brother, exactly that. And I'm saying to the family, even if you don't want to do it formally, once you reach I'm called now Maat, and I know there's a whole spiritual connection, and sometimes and I'm really humbled by that name. But you're right, we have to take the name that is right for us, and for some of us, I've got to say, brother, it is to keep the name we have, because out of respect for our parents, maybe, or could be after a grandparent. We may keep it for that reason. But yes, changing your name to make the connection stronger back to the motherland, absolutely.
Yeah, well, I've got the question the sister just texted in here. You haven't touched on it, so I'll ask it. She says, Lady
Yeah.
Adele, what advice can you give, if any, to those who desire to visit Africa or indeed relocate there but are reluctant to take the mandatory vaccine? For
Oh,
example, yellow fever for Ghana. Uh, what vaccinations are mandatory in the Gambia?
Right. So regarding the Gambia, there are no mandatory vaccinations at all. So you can come into Gambia without any. Some people take the malaria, the course of malaria, so that the tablets before, during, and a few days after. And when I came for the first time, I did that, but I got what is that one where you feel dizzy and you lose your sense of balance? Anyway, I started to
Victor.
suffer from.
Yeah. Sorry, go
I
on.
stopped, I stopped and I thought,
Is that COVID? Sorry, sister.
oh,
Sorry.
that's okay, but that's okay. But I don't take anything. So what I did, I researched into medicinal alternatives. So I make my own cream. I buy the shea butter block. I add a lot of essentials oils to it, and I use that on my body. We live out in the country, so we have the breeze that comes off the sea. So mosquitoes are few and far between. It's so hot and dry that they really struggle to survive. And we have no standing water. So malaria was not a thing that we worry worry about. And also, we couldn't live our lives on this tablet for the rest of our lives at all. So it's just about taking care. In the evenings, I wear long sleeves just to protect myself, particularly in the rainy season. Now, regarding yellow fever, you don't need yellow fever for Gambia, but what you do need yellow fever for is if you're traveling internally within Africa. So when we went to Ghana, they wanted us to have the yellow fever vaccination. Now, that is the only vaccination we took because we knew that we would be traveling internally across Africa. And that's the only way we could do that.
Right.
Now, the follow yellow fever, and yellow fever hasn't been in Gambia for, I think, since about 2021. I track it on the government website, and we've got to remember that these things are treatable. So I researched that if you do get malaria, you must ask at the hospital for combination treatment. That's what you ask for. So I know already how to deal and manage with that. And when sometimes if I come back to England, there's one occasion when I came back to England, I wasn't feeling too good. I just took myself down to the tropical disease hospital. Can you give me a check? I was in and out in two hours, and everything was fine, just for my own peace of mind.
Yes, sister.
Some countries require it, and if they do require it, then there is no way around that unless you would decide, you know what, I'm going to get myself, I'm going to buy an illegal certificate. I'm not encouraging people to do that, but if it says it's mandatory, then there is no way around that.
Yes, sister, we've only got a couple of minutes left before the top of the hour. So there's a certain few things I want you to push to mention that one of it obviously is where you're staying at, so you can give that a plug, and some big events coming up in London that I want you to mention as well, please.
Brilliant, brother. I will do that. So we stay at Royal Sankofa. I'll lead because of time. Family, you look up the Sankofa bird and what it represents, because that's our mission here in the Gambia. We're in an area called Sanyan. Always look out for it on Brother Andrew's Hidden Truth show, which runs every Tuesday from 6:30 in the evening, all around to about 10 o'clock, ending off with the after party. You can check him out on Investigator. I think it's investigator.com. Some of the big things that are happening is, along with Brother Andrew, myself, and Black History Studies, we've got a big 2-week Egyptian tour, September 18th to the 2nd of October. So if you're interested in that, it's a magnificent trip. Please Google or email Black History Studies and find information there. Any parents on the platform or grandparents or potentially hoping to be parents in the future, there's a National Black Parents Association, which is held on the last Thursday of every month. You can check that out on Brother Andrew's Investigator website as well. And just to let you know that I'll be holding a retreat with 3 others from around the world at Royal Sankofa. We are the Simunye Circle, which means we are one. It's a very Ubuntu group, and we're holding the retreat from the 13th to the 23rd of November of this year, and more information will come out on the Hidden Truth platform and Brother Andrew's website. So those are, and I mustn't forget the big reggae weekender is coming up in June. Oh, brother, I haven't got that date with me, but we've got the big reggae weekender down in London, down at, I think, the Hilton at Heathrow Airport. Come for the day, come for the weekend. We will come together, look at melanin and music. Okay, family. So I was rushing before. I just want to share with you some big events that are coming up that you may want to take part in. So let me just give you the contact details first. And the contact details is theinvestigator.org.uk. That's Brother Andrew Mohammed, my husband's website. So you can get all this information from there, theinvestigator.org.uk. So the first one is to suggest that you register to the Hidden Truth. It's our Tuesday online show. Starts at 6:30 p.m. and closes with an after party about 10 o'clock. That's where we look at Black businesses. We advertise Black business. We have guest speakers who come on and talk anything religion, wealth, health, education, and so on. Another big event coming up is our Egypt Tour 2026, which is Hidden Truth in collaboration with Black History Studies. That's Brother Culture Mark and Sister Charmaine. And that's going to be the 18th of September through to the 2nd of October, 14-day tour of Egypt and the history of our ancient Kemetic history in all of that. Something else is the National Black Parents Association, which Brother Andrew is a director of. They hold their online parents, or anybody can attend sessions on the last Thursday of every month. They look at all things education related, including young people's health, AI and the future, as well as the curriculum. The Reggae Weekend, which is the big one, which will be taking place in London, June the 20th and June the 21st at the Hilton Hotel in at Heathrow Airport. That's a big Reggae Weekender, and that's Hidden Truth in collaboration with Hidden Science, which is Leon Marshall and Chef Kev, who's on Hidden Truth at the weekend there. We'll be looking at melanin and music. We'll be looking at the history of Bob Marley. We'll be looking at the difference between beat and syncopation, as well as having the after party there. There'll be stalls as well. And myself and 3 other sisters from around the world, we're holding our Simunye Circle Sisters Retreat here at Royal Sankofa in the Gambia between the 13th and 23rd of November this year. All sisters welcome. We'll be looking at Kemet and our ancient African consciousness. We'll be looking at the fact that we're all knowing women. It's within us. We'll be looking at our passions and how we can think them into success. And we'll be looking at the power of the Baraka effect, how service to community is a benefit for us all. So those are just the big things I wanted to push. I want to say thank you very much, Brother 45, and thank you so much, Sister LP, for this interview, being able to share my experience and give others hope and support and guidance into how they can move overseas. And I just want to remind everybody, yes, that Babylon, that great city, has fallen. So it is time to get out, and if we can't all get out in body, but we can definitely all get out in mind. Yeah. Thank you so much.
Yes, sister. It was a wonderful... I just wanted to say then, a lot of our people, I mean, like Carrie Tubman said, you know, if they realized they were slaves, she could have, you know, that they weren't slaves. She could have saved a lot more. That's the mindset of our people. It's the comfort zone that they think they're in. That's really the problem with our people. They're in this zone called comfort, and they think if they step out of the comfort zone, it's going to be fireworks for them. That's a lot.
Yeah. It's very, very important what you say there, brother, because also what it is, we find if we look at ourselves, we really take a good look at ourselves, we realize that we find comfort in our discomfort. And that's scary thing. I can put up with this. I'll put up with it just a little bit longer. I'll put up for this reason. So we become comfortable in our discomfort. Therein, the really has full of us, and when we think we're in full control ourselves.
And he keeps putting more wood on the fire.
Sorry, brother?
He keeps putting more wood on the fire, and we're still putting up with it. You know, he's making us hotter and hotter, and we're still putting up with it. That's what it is. Wonderful how you put that, sister.
Yes. So thank you very much, family, for your time. Sister Laura, for your questions.
Yeah.
And 45 for giving me this opportunity to share a way out for all of us, because we can all do it in a small or a big way.
Thank you.
Absolutely. Sister. It's been a pleasure speaking with you, sister. And we hope that this is the first of many conversations that we will have as well.
It would be wonderful.
Okay. One love.
All right.
And love.
We hope you'll be listening to Passion Radio more regular now on a Sunday.
Yeah, I'm going to put it. It's going straight back on once I come off this call, and it's going to be my new Sunday friend. So wherever I'm working on Sunday, I can take it with me and I can have it on and playing across that day. So thank you for introducing me to Passion Radio.
Right. Thank you, sister. Right. Bye now.
Bye.
And give my salams to Brother Andrew as well.
I will do. Peace and blessings, family.